Welcome back to our channels, Warriors. We are still growing today. Another special interview, man. A blast from the past. Benny Cruz, what's up, man?
Good. Make me feel old, man.
No, dude, it's a good thing, man. You can see now the world has gone crazy. We need to go back in time.
Yeah.
So tell us a little about yourself, man. Where did you grow up at?
Well, I was born in San Diego, and I was raised in Calexico by my grandparents. I went to school there. I went to Calexico High. I'm going to date myself, and I graduated in '74.
Okay.
So I was all Bulldogs. And from there, I just, for a while, I wanted to get hired by Calexico Police. And I got called in for an interview by Chief Toribio Flores. And he asked me the question, and I answered it wrong. I mean, I was just a kid, he asked me, so you want to be a Calexico police officer? And I remember saying, I guess so. So, I wasn't
Right.
certain. So anyway, I wasn't hired, and probably about 45 days later, I got hired by the Imperial County Sheriff's Department, and that was back in 1977.
1977, hired on with the Imperial County Sheriff.
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was 20
20.
years old.
What was the minimum age requirement to be able to join?
21 back then.
Okay.
So, but I was right at the age where I was going to be able to go to the academy.
Perfect.
So I went to the academy. I went to Rio Hondo Police Academy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go to Riverside. Everybody's going to Riverside, but Riverside was full. So I ended up going to Rio Hondo in Whittier.
Okay.
I'm telling you, man, that academy was #1 stress academy in the state back in the day. When I went there, they had just received their license from Post again.
Okay.
Because they lost it because a cadet died during PT. That's
Sounds
how brutal they were, man. And,
It's good training.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't a military guy. I was just a kid from Calexico, bro.
Yeah.
And to get in that environment where it was all Marine Corps type drill. I mean, push-ups, sit-ups, I remember day one, everybody had to wear a suit. We wore a blue suit, white tie with a blue tie and black shoes. And you carry a briefcase, an empty briefcase. It was a Samsonite brown briefcase. Kind of like old school.
Right.
And we all stood at attention. They greeted us. Everybody standing in the gym, and everybody's really friendly. And they take us to, because it was a living academy, so they take us to a dining facility, and at the college. So everybody was pigging out. Everything was nice. See, I'm one of those guys that I can't have breakfast in the morning, or else I start getting sick. I don't feel good. So I just had like orange juice, and I see everybody pigging out and all that, and all of a sudden, all hell broke loose, man. Drill instructors came out of everywhere screaming at everybody. They rushed us all back to the gym, and now the gym looks different. Now there's trash cans everywhere.
Oh, man. How did those drill sergeants look like? Did they look mean, intimidating?
They look fit.
Okay.
Like you estaban cortados los cabrones.
Oh,
man.
cortados,
Fucking
G.
machines, man.
You think some of them might have been Vietnam veterans with their demeanor?
For sure. They were all tatted out, or LASO guys, LAPD instructors, Pasadena.
Fuck.
And a lot of them had the Marine Corps, tattoos on them. Dude, it was just like full metal, man. They're just machines. I mean, these guys were just fit.
Was it more so to beat you guys down or to wisen you guys up to what's on the streets?
It was to eliminate the weak.
There you go.
Because we started at 101 in my class. And when I graduated from the academy, 36 of us graduated. So we lost, you can see, more than 50%. And day one, they were dropping like flies. They were just, hey, I'm out of here.
Was political correctness a thing back then?
What's that?
Was political correctness a thing back then?
No, they could do a shit about that. I remember doing push-ups when it's raining outside. I'm doing push-ups, and I'm in my what they call your it's cadet uniform. It's all tan, and we wore a black tie. Well, the tie came off the clip, and it dragged where I was doing the push-ups, and it was like I beat up their mom.
Wow.
Oh my God! I got stumped in the back. I got squashed right in the mud. And they're screaming at me, calling me a beaner, you fucking beaner. What the fuck are you doing? We're gonna send you back home, and just.
Man, the good old days, huh?
I had to be dirty the whole day. I was like that. I went to class with a muddy uniform and all that, and they made an ass out of me. But I learned. It was high stress academy.
When you got hired on, Were you under the impression, or was it in the contract that you were going to work the jails first, or going to go to the
Oh
streets,
yes,
or how?
we go to the jail. Back then it was everybody goes to the jail.
Mandatory jail.
Everybody goes to the jail. And you know what? Now that I got older and throughout the years, I always said, and when I was a training officer in patrol in San Diego, I used to tell the guys that the best cops came from the jail. They had jail experience or some kind of custody because, you know, they learned the game and they know the bullshit. And they make them better, makes them better cops on the street. They know how to talk to people. That's important. You got to know how to talk to people, man.
Communication.
And when you got to go hands on, you know, you go hands on.
Right.
Ain't no bullshit. And now little come alongs, now there's little things that you learn at the academy. Yeah, you start that way, but you elevate it as it goes to crap, you know.
Right. So there you are, man, getting freaking hammered at the academy, getting tossed around. You start in Imperial County Jail?
Imperial County Jail, the old jail. The one that used to be behind the courthouse.
Behind the courthouse? I didn't even know that there was a jail back there. There's a bunch of bail bonds back there now.
Yeah, but it was big. I mean, it was the old school. It almost looked like the kind of, it was a sheriff's office too, so everything was there. It was like kind of like the old buildings that you see back in the South. It's just an old building.
What
right
are the
behind
jail?
courthouse.
The bars, were they bars, jail
Oh, yeah.
cells?
Everything was bars, big keys. You slammed the door. You knew you're slamming that door.
So was it like an old school Western?
Yes.
All right, so this is where we dive right
You know
into
what?
it.
It was like going to Alcatraz or San Quentin, where everything's still bars.
Right. Being a regular cop down there, would you have the regular jail inmates that would come every weekend? Oh, hey, it's you again, Bill, or hey,
Oh
John.
yeah. Oh yeah. You're drunks. You know. You had what's something called weekenders. When
What's that?
They have to report on the weekend to go do jail time.
So that was a thing back then too.
Like the deuces, you get a deuce, like a DUI.
Yeah.
And you have to work. You got a family. You got to support
Right.
your family. So the judges would leave them out for a week, during the week when they're working, and on the weekend they had to report to the jail. Like on Friday night, they were reporting, and we used to get like a shitload of them.
I have a friend that had to do that right here in George Bailey. Shout out to Beef. Yeah, that guy had to do it.
Yeah,
My buddy from
shit, you know?
from Brawley. Back then, the demeanor of the criminals, the inmates, were they respectful towards law enforcement? I'm talking about like the overall demeanor compared to how things are now.
You're talking about on the streets?
No,
or
in the jail. In the jail.
You know, I did my jail time, and things have changed. You know, I can't say they had a lot of respect for us, and because we got down, man.
Right.
I mean, you got out of line, we put you back in line.
Right.
I mean, we said we ran the jail, but actually they really do.
Right.
But there was a lot of discipline, and they knew that they got out of line, we put them back in line. Everything was hands-on back then. Hands-on, verbal judo, BS stuff, you know, hands-on, take you down, take you to the ground.
Now, were they receptive to that type of treatment?
Pretty much. They knew they had it coming. Sometimes they would apologize.
Right.
You know, and it was just business, dude.
Right,
you know,
right.
Just don't take it personal.
Working in the jail can be more volatile because people are coming in under the influence of controlled substance and or alcohol. Do you ever deal with that?
Oh yeah, all the time, dude. I mean, we have to drag them from the get go, from the parking lot, from where the patrol car rolls in. The dispatcher will call and they will let us know, hey, we got a fighter. He's coming up right now. So we'd be waiting outside, like at the old jail. We would wait outside, and you'd be surprised. They roll up in that car, that police car rolls up, and then they see the deputy standing outside, 4 or 5 of us. You'd be surprised.
They get a kind of act
Good
right.
evening, sir. How's everything going, sir? It was just completely different.
Right.
And the ones that wanted to fight, well, we dragged them inside, threw them in the rubber room, and see you in the morning.
Oh man! Now you mentioned patrol car. What model, man? Because I know they've gone through different series.
Well, when I was in Imperial County, I went to patrol, and I was in a patrol car, and they had sectors, and my sector was the El Centro car. So the El Centro car meant that I worked Heber and the unincorporated area of Calexico, those outskirts. What's next to El Centro?
Imperial?
No. To the east.
Holtville.
Holtville. Yeah, so we cover Holtville. We cover all those areas. We cover Sealy, some of those areas. So it was a lot of area to cover. Cover the I-8. We used to go sometimes all the way up to Winter Haven.
Now this is when you transitioned out of the jail?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we go there, anything major in the jail that you were that you can recall that really kind of opened your eyes to the type of world you were in now?
Well, for me, I was a young guy, and I was a hothead,
Yeah,
you know, and I like to get it on,
right.
And there was a guy from Brawley, Richie Pinuelas, old Mexican mafia guy. Richie Pinuelas, he's dead now. Uh, Richie ran the Broleños. He ran all the guys down in Brawley. So we had we used to call them tanks, and el tanque. So we had the maximum security tank, and then we had the special cells, single cells. Richie wasn't on a single cell. He wasn't double cell or single cell. He was actually with General Pop on a high power tank, and because he got along with everybody, nobody was hitting anybody over there. I mean, you don't get any norteños down in the valley.
Right.
We had a couple of Texas Syndicate guys that showed up, but we just PC'd them up. But anyway, Richie ran the tank, and I got along with Richie all the time. He actually did some drawings for me. He drew a picture of my wife, and we got along very well. I communicated with him very well. So one night, I'm doing my tank check, and there's probably 40 people in the tank, 40 to 50. So I go in the tank, and there's long tanks. I mean, they're just long, and it's dark. All the light bulbs are broken, and all that shit on the catwalk. So I wasn't used to the catwalk. I went in the tank and just to mingle with the guys and talk to the guys and BS with them. So I go all the way to the rear of the tank, and as I'm walking back, I got my flashlight, and I can see that all of a sudden everybody's up in the front. I said, that's kind of weird. And nobody's talking to me anymore. Once they saw me go back, everybody moved forward, and nobody wanted to talk to me anymore. I said, that's kind of weird. You could just feel something.
You felt
wrong,
it.
So you're walking back, and I'm doing my flashlight check, and I hit the light. The fucking bars are missing by the catwalk. And there's a window. All it was the tank, the catwalk, and then you had a window to the streets. El Centro, right there. And I hit it with the lights, and I saw it. I said, shit. And I see everybody over there, and nobody's still looking at me. I says, oh, man. I said to myself, do I go out that way?
Right.
Or do I go out the main door? And, I just went out the main door. And I went out and put it out. And next thing you know, everybody in the world was responding. The whole street was blocked off, and, But later on, actually one of the investigators from from Imperial County Sheriff, because they did an investigation. They talked to Pinuelas because he was the head guy in there. And they asked him, so why didn't you guys jump him?
Right.
I mean, you guys, that's your last chance to get out. And there's only one guy stopping it. And he says, you know what? I just told the guys, hey, he caught us. We're busted. Just let him go. He said, dude, the guy was a cool guy. So me being cool with him and talking to him probably saved my life that night.
Damn, you think it would have been somebody else or somebody that they disliked that would have went different?
I think that if he wasn't there,
Yeah.
I don't think the cells would have been busted. I think it was him they wanted to get out.
Right.
Because he was going up.
You mentioned about 3 different cells types. What were the differences?
Well, you had the high-powered tank where Richie was, and you put all the gangsters, all the
What did that look like? Bars? Glass?
Everything's bars.
Everything's bars.
Everything's bars, bro. Ain't no fancy doors, no nothing of that shit. So when you walk in the jail, at the old jail, you walk in, it was like a gate that you pop in, and you walk in, and they pop another door, and you go down the stairs, and you go towards booking. As you're going walking towards booking, to the left are special cells. Okay? And then it leads you to where the girls are, the ladies' jail. If you go straight into booking, there was holding cells where we put all the drunks. We had a drunk cell where you put all the drunks, and then you put another one where you put, because they get in process.
Right.
And then there was one that was like a rubber type cell. Just throw them in there. I think it was 4 to 5 cells. Then you get to booking, and as you go past booking, there was a catwalk, a door to the catwalk. It was to the left, to the right. You had 2 tanks that went all the way deep. Richie was on the one on the right. The one on the left was more of your, just regular population.
Was there bunk beds in there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys find weapons in those? I mean,
yeah.
using metal, finding metal.
Yeah, there was some bone crushers.
Bone crushers?
Oh yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So then you go up to the second floor. Second floor was all 2-man cells. A row, just a big row, 2-man cells. And
What do you got to do to earn your way up to the second tier as far as being an inmate? Go on your way to
really,
prison?
murder.
Murder?
high power guys, and problem kids, problem childs, you know. And then to the left of that, there was another special housing unit. That's where we put like cop killers and stuff. Back in the day, we had the two guys that killed Hennessy and Vickers in El Centro. You know, the two patrol guys that were killed in El Centro. We were housing them there, you know.
Were you working at the jail when that? This is the first time I heard of that incident. When that incident happened.
Yes.
Oof.
Yeah.
Was that? If you can recall that.
It was a weird night because the call comes out and we get notified in the jail. Hey, El Centro PD has 2 officers down and they're looking for the supervisor now. There was only 3 guys on duty, I guess.
Wow.
And they couldn't reach the supervisor. So later on, I heard that the first unit on scene was Brawley PD, and followed by the sheriff. And I don't think Imperial PD even had anybody working that night, you know. So there wasn't. I mean, you scream for help back in the day. Back then, you don't get a lot of help. Like San Diego, you scream for help, you'll get 100 cars.
Yeah.
You know, within minutes, you get 100 cars out here. I mean, it's so heavily populated. There's so many cop cars out there. But we got notified in the jail. Hey, it's just, 2 officers are dead. You know, and the guys are on the win. They think they're barricaded in a hotel, but they're trying to get a SWAT team. I think they got I'm not sure, but I thought I heard that they got Navy guys from the Sealy Air Base.
Yeah.
They came out and did their own little tactical thing or whatever, you know. Because back then there was only 2 FBI agents in the valley,
Really?
and those got killed too in the tower, in El Centro.
They got killed in a
There was
separate
a radio
incident.
station, you know where the new mall is, or
Yeah.
right there off of is it Imperial?
Off of Dannenberg, the
No.
new mall.
No, it's kind of it used to be a new mall, but there used to be, you know what the Starbucks is? I can't remember exactly the street on there, but there used to be an old mall and they had a radio station.
You're talking about where the Woolworth used to be?
I can't remember, bro. But they had the radio station there for the valley, for El Centro, and the FBI office was there.
Wow.
Well, some dude went out there and killed both agents. So, but anyway, the Hennessy Vickers was the 2 El Centro cops. We were getting all kinds. The right away told us to lock everybody down. They thought it was all kinds of things, all kinds of rumors were going around. There was an assassin squad killing cops, and the jail went on lockdown, and just a big, big thing, you know.
Wow, this is the first time I'm hearing of that, man. But I could just imagine back then. So they ended up capturing the suspect and taking him to your jail.
They ended up. See, what happened was, they were in San Diego in Lakeside. They were Lakeside guys. They killed the grandparents and fled east, and this time they ended up in El Centro.
Okay.
And they were high on methamphetamine and all this other crap, you know.
White guys?
Yeah, white power guys.
Damn.
Big guys.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big names, like heavy hitters.
I don't remember, but they were big dudes.
Right. So they ended up in your guys' jail.
Yeah.
You think maybe they might have fell down a couple flight of stairs on accident prior to arriving to your jail?
Dude, the only person that was allowed to go feed them was a sergeant. The only person that could go make contact with them was a sergeant. None of us were allowed in that area.
Probably a good rule to have, right? Would you say?
Yeah.
Due to the
But
tension.
I'm telling you, man, upstairs, the second floor was wild, bro. Because there was a deputy station up there, but we hardly ever manned it because we were busy downstairs.
Yeah.
You know, and not only that, we kept doing security checks where Richie was, that cell block, because we had a lot of gangsters from Brole, from El Centro, guys that got along, you know. So we were constantly going, you know, and it was busy. It was busy downstairs, especially on the weekend. So I don't want to talk about this one because it's kind of nasty.
Shoot it.
Yeah. So it's a Friday night or Saturday night. We're really busy, and it's wild, dude. So I had never seen anything like this. So they tell me, Benny, you want to go do a check upstairs? Yeah, I'll go do a check. We're fingerprinting and all this other stuff. It's busy. I'm just rocking and stuff. So I go upstairs. And it's really quiet. So that's kind of weird because there's always yelling. There's always talking. I said, this is really strange. So I go up there and I stand up by the side of the row, and then the guys that are on cells in front of me, they're going.
Oh yeah, I think you remember. I know where
They
this.
start pointing.
Yeah, I think I know where this is
want me to say
going.
it?
Yeah, man, go ahead and tell us.
So I'm looking at this, and they're all laughing, they're all giggling. And I look at the guys on the other cell block, and they're all just cracking up. They're just they keep telling, and they're all everybody's watching, and I can hear like moaning. I says, somebody, So I start walking and on the side, I'm kind of walking on the middle. I'm not walking on the side of the bars, because they can grab you from there, And all of a sudden I stop, and this big ass black dude, man, is just raping the shit out of this white kid.
Damn.
I had never seen it. I had never seen that, bro.
There you guys go, man. A booty bandit story.
Big time booty bandit. The guy was like a fucking gorilla, man. Huge guy.
And I have yet to even say a booty bandit story. I don't even think I have any in particular, man. But that shit's fucking real.
The only time I've ever seen that happen. Now
Right.
I hear that it happens often.
Right.
But I had never seen it.
Don't go to jail. Don't go to prison, man, because that's a possibility. It's a fucking it's a possibility.
Big investigation as to why that mousy kid
Yeah.
was in that cell with that guy.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, man. A lot of people will get in trouble.
Like somebody fed him. Hey, dude, here.
Heads will roll.
Yeah, and I remember the guy turned around, and I go with my keys. I tap with the between the bars.
Hey, man, knock it off.
Hey, like, dude, he turns around and says, "I ain't done yet, Depp." And I said, "Yes, you are. Get up." And so I had to go back to the deputy station to get on the intercom because we had no radios. So I get on the intercom. I need deputies up here ASAP.
Fuck.
And now you hear the keys rattling. They're all running up the stairs, and the guy's still at it. We say, hey. So if it's, hey, dude, stop, get off him. And then the little white kid turns around, all mousy. He's not even crying, or he's just like in shock,
Yeah.
So we just popped the door open, and the guy just pulled out, and
Wow, man, we just went from 0 to 1,000 miles per hour
we
fast.
escorted him out.
Yeah. No, that's the fucking truth, man. That's the reality
That
of it,
night,
though.
the sergeant went ape shit. You can call the lieutenant. You have to call everybody. Like, dude, you just we're raping the jail.
Damn.
And in legally, you can't rape a guy. There's no such thing as rape of a male, per the penal code. The way the statute reads, it's sodomy. I mean, he was sodomy. Guy. Yeah.
They're also in prison. There's no such thing as consensual sex. So any type of form sexes would be considered rape.
Yeah.
Man, wow, fuck.
But I've never seen that, bro. I still have it. There's some things that you just can't unsee,
You ever get a flashback and maybe you're eating a fucking Dodger dog or something? You're like, a la verga,
No.
G.
I get the flash from the cell.
The cell?
Escape attempt.
Oh, shit.
To think that if I would have been an asshole, I would have been a dick with this guys.
Right.
Because I was cool with them. I let them listen to KRLA, Sunday music, listen
Art
to
LeBeau.
oldies, Art LeBeau. And, I wasn't turning off their TV.
Right.
Hey, what are they doing? There's nothing to lose there, man. The jail's 24/7. They're right there. They hear all the noise that's going on in the booking. They hear all the fights.
Right.
Hey, it's not like they're asleep.
Right.
They let them watch TV. I mean,
It's kind of tit for tat.
Yeah.
Survival.
And then we started. I remember that in the catwalk, we were getting shit thrown at us, urine, stuff like that, So ended up putting a rail on the catwalks. So when you walk on that catwalk, you grab the it was like a plastic shield.
Yeah.
And you put it on. You walk with the shield.
Interesting, man.
Yeah. And then you walk.
So how much time did you do in the jail before you went out and got a patrol car?
In Imperial Valley, I did 5 years.
5 fucking years,
Yeah,
dude.
and then I went to patrol, and I wasn't there very long, like 2 years, and then I went to San Diego. I'd lateral to San Diego to come back to another jail.
No way. So some of the equipment you were issued, right? I know you kind of showed me this earlier. Was this part of the original issue?
Well, not in Imperial County. In Imperial County, we had the old gun belt, the one I was showing you.
Yeah.
And we had the regular stick, the regular batons.
Mm-hmm. That one right there?
Your straight stick.
Down right there.
Yeah, this one right here. And this is a standard stick for law enforcement back then. And even now, they still issue a straight stick. It's your option to buy the ASP or to use the PR-24
Right.
or the nunchucks. In our department, when you train, we train with all weapons.
Wow.
So when you go on patrol, you can carry. I've seen some guys carry the nunchucks. But
Really?
You better be good with that shit. Or you
Yeah.
knock yourself out.
Fucking Michelangelo.
Yeah. But for riots, anytime we have a riot, everybody's got the stick. This is the stick.
Now, kind of ridiculous question, but did you find that stick to be effective
Oh yeah.
in
You gotta know how to
in
use it.
performing your duties?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Was it ever a dangerous situation where the stick got taken away from deputies and used against them?
I never saw anything like that happen.
That happens in prison often.
Yeah. I never saw it happen. You know, you know, I can't say that
Right.
I know.
And what about this mag light right here,
The
man?
mag light
One of
was,
the originals?
Yeah. We used to carry that in our you know, you have the baton ring, then you have a flashlight ring, which is bigger. So you carry that. Even in the daytime, you carry that. Part of training, back in the day in the patrol car, I used to make all my trainees shove the flashlight between their legs. So in other words, you get in the car and you're driving like this,
Why is that?
so you don't forget it.
There
Because
you
you
go.
never know where you're going to need that weapon. You can use it as a striking, or you go in a dark room or a dark house, and you need the light to be able to see.
Now, aside from all these less than lethal weapons, so to say, did you guys have lethal weapons?
Yeah.
Sidearms.
Yeah.
What back in the day, what was
It
that?
was the Model 66
357
wheel
you were
gun,
saying.
the wheel gun.
Jesus, man.
Yeah.
How many shots? 5, 6,
Six
6.
shots.
You guys have speed loaders? What did you guys? Or
Well-
you showed me on your belt, man. You guys want to see that belt? Go to the Patreon. Hit the link in the description below.
That was the old Western style.
So basically, it's a notch with
12 rounds.
like the bandito bandoliers.
Yeah, but you put 12 rounds, and they're all exposed. You can see them. So you load one at a time.
Any deputies come back to the station and be like, "Oh fuck, I'm missing 3 rounds."
No, those
Sarge.
things were tight.
Oh, they were tight in
Yeah,
there.
they were tight. So from there we went to the pouch,
Mm-hmm.
and the pouch was it was like a little square thing like this, and you pop it, and the rounds would come out of your hand. Well,
Interesting.
after the New Hall incident, I don't know if you ever heard of the New Hall incident, where the CHP guys were killed in L.A.
And there was a bunch of brass in their
The
pocket.
Browns were all over the ground,
Yeah.
and some of the brass was in their pockets and stuff.
Right.
So right away they stopped the pouch. This is dangerous. It was a dangerous experiment.
Let the viewers, let me tell, speaking about that, right? Because we heard the same thing. So in anything that you do, military or law enforcement, how you train is how you fight, right? You often hear people say, oh, I don't know what training just kicked in. That's why I did this heroic act.
Yeah.
Well, to the flip side to that was a lot, like you said, a lot of police officers and deputies were being killed in action in the line of duty, and brass was being found in their pocket. The reason for, I'm getting chills thinking about it. The reason for that is because at the range they were training to pick up the rounds after every firing iteration. So
So we got done with the pouch, and we went to the speed loads, the double speed loads.
right.
And those were great. The speed loads were great. You can reload real quick. But then we went from the double to the triple speed load.
Man,
Well, you had 3 speed loads, three.
it's funny to hear you say that they were great because I mean I got to use the speed loaders for 38 and I mean
You put them in.
it's more effective
You're ready
to
to go.
drop a magazine and insert
yeah.
a new one.
Oh yeah, and you got more rounds in the mag too.
Right.
Yeah. So from there we went to from the speed loads we ended up going to the mags.
Interesting. Talk to me real quick about these bad boys right here, man.
Well, these are thumb cuffs, and we never used them. Neither did Imperial Cali. This is LAPD issued. My neighbor worked for LAPD, and before he passed away, he gave me a couple of toys. And this was LAPD style of handcuff, and you handcuff people by their thumbs.
Effective or not effective?
I would say no.
All right.
I mean, it's the same key, but look at this. You still have hands.
You have
to
your
move around.
hands.
You can still do a lot of stuff, you know. So I never used them. I mean, we were not authorized to use this. Plus, this was very old school.
Right.
This is all LAPD, probably 60s.
60s, man. There you have it, folks. He's like, they look like Chinese finger cuffs. I don't know if I can say Chinese finger cuffs, but here we go. So there you go. You're now you come to San Diego. You're working the jails. How long did you work in the San Diego jail?
5 years.
Fucking total of 10 years in the jails, huh?
Yeah. So I went to the old jail, the one on C Street. And I wasn't there very long because they opened up. They were looking for bodies for South Bay in Chula Vista, South Bay jail on 8th Street.
Yeah.
And I was leaving in Otay. So
Okay.
a big difference. I mean, I can get to work in 10 minutes.
Right.
So obviously, me and a whole bunch of guys from the South Bay transferred over to South Bay jail.
After there, you hit the streets yet again.
Yeah.
What year was this time frame for San Diego?
I hit the streets in 1988.
1988, folks. I'm telling you, I'm bringing the bangers for you guys, man.
Late 87, 88.
No cell phones.
Oh, hell no.
Payphones?
Dude, I should have brought the cell phone that we used to carry.
Yeah,
When the cell phones started coming out,
right.
I have one at home.
Payphones. Would you guys utilize payphones? Or
We didn't have payphones, we had police boxes.
talk to me about those.
It's just like a box on the street and said sheriff or police. So you had a key to open up that box and there was a phone and you dial dispatch.
Did people ever vandalize those boxes or graffiti on the box?
Oh, they were etched and stuff like that, but
For the most part, they were intact.
I remember there was two in Lakeside that we would use,
What about bathroom breaks while you're on patrol back in the old days? Did you guys have your local spot?
Oh, yeah. Back then, we used the water district. We had keys, and like at night,
Oh,
we
okay.
would get in the gate, or when we gas up,
Okay.
we go in there too, or some of the restaurants, people knew us,
There you go. You guys have computer systems in the car?
Oh, hell no.
What did you guys have? How did you guys talk to me about old school policing, man? Would you used to get down and ask neighbors, hey, what the hell happened?
Just to go take you back to El Centro.
Okay.
Spotlights in the cars.
Uh-huh.
The spotlight used to be on top. And that thing would break and you had no spotlight. You just turn it on and whatever lights up, lights up. And then they got away from that and they went to one spotlight on the left side. One spotlight. And then we got sophisticated. We got high tech in El Centro. We added a spotlight to the right.
Nice.
And it was only for the Heber car.
Interesting.
Because Heber was jumping back then. Heber was a hot spot in the valley. Hotter than Brawley for a long time.
I never even knew that.
Yeah. So we were always in Heber and gang stuff and just a lot of shit happening, man. And then Brawley started popping with the Broleños and,
Now, was this gangs? I know we backtrack a little, but it's good, man. Was it gangs or was there drugs being pushed from up north from the border of Mexico?
Well, stuff was already coming in.
It was coming through?
Because my uncle got popped over there and he was with Sinaloa. So Sinaloa was already bringing stuff in. They used to be called familias before they became cartels.
Right.
And but it wasn't like now. Now the gangsters were just into their own shit, dude. PCP.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, getting all juiced up and stuff, and gang banging. Fights during high school football games. Big time. Those gangs would show up. And you have a big fight after the football game.
What were they wearing, man? The Dickies, the Ben Davis, the wife beaters.
No, back then they were all wearing the tan like mine.
Okay.
Dickies, and they look sharp.
Yeah. A different time back then, huh?
Yeah, they look sharp. They weren't none of the little shorts and all that shit. No, they were.
Right.
They had their
They
Ben
took
Davis
pride. Yeah.
shirts, the one with the little gorilla on it.
What kind of weapons would they carry, if any?
Knives,
Knives,
Bats.
daggers, bats.
sticks, broken broomsticks.
Once
in a while, guns.
Stolen guns?
Yeah, of course, yeah. But you had the different gangs popping. Calexico had La Pichonera, they had Calesia,
La Garra?
La Garra. La Garra wasn't really a gang.
Ghost
I grew up
town?
in La Garra, and La Garra was just a neighborhood. They used to call it La Garra. But every time that the guys from that side got in a fight, eran los de La Garra. But there was no really group,
Right.
when I was growing up, It was all Calesia. When I was growing up, everything was Calesia. And then the KG started coming out, and La Pichonera, that kind of stuff, And then El Centro tenía Centro, West Side.
Now, back then, were the cities rivaling against each other?
Yeah.
Was that what you guys would see?
Yeah.
Brole versus
Brole.
Centro, Calesia versus
Yeah.
Brole.
Those were your three main ones. And Heber was popping with their own stuff for a while. And
Yeah.
then I guess they all ended up going to jail or they grew up, they grew out of it.
Right. Damn, that's interesting, man.
But Brawley was always a powerhouse in El Valle, los Broleños, because they were under the umbrella of the MA.
I wonder. I was gonna say, I wonder if that's why Brawley moves different. But I mean, to me, it's all the Imperial Valley, But yeah, that's. I know there's a lot of pride down there from every city where you're from.
Yeah, I mean, I go up there a lot because I still have a lot of family over there. And I'm telling you, man, Brawley's got the shit. This fucking town is just
My wife's from El Centro, and she fucking hated people from Brawley, bro. And then she ended up marrying
Oh, yeah.
me. So I hit the lottery on that
But
one.
during high school, we just didn't like the Wildcats
Yeah,
and the Spartans,
right.
and
So you back to your patrolling in San Diego. Were you based out of Lakeside initially?
no, Santee Station.
Santee
So I went to
Station.
the Santee Station. The Santee Station runs Lakeside, unincorporated, and some of the unincorporated El Cajon and Barona, the Barona Indian Reservation.
For those that you guys don't know, here in San Diego, different San Diego County, you got East County. You have Santee, Lakeside, El Cajon. Was it called Clan T back then?
Well, part of El Cajon was covered by Alpine, the Alpine
Okay.
Station. A station is run by a captain. It's like a chief of police. Those are your substations are run by a lieutenant.
Okay,
So that's the difference between stations and substations.
nice.
So Santee was always known as Clan T.
Elaborate on that. It's just a higher population of white
Yeah,
individuals?
yeah. Lakeside was. I only knew one black family over there, and that was my partner, one of the guys that I work with. No Hispanics.
Yeah.
And I don't remember seeing any Mexicans out there. It's all white.
Was the KKK, I know you showed me a picture earlier. Was that a thing? Was that relevant
Yeah.
at
Well,
that time frame?
the Klan wasn't as active,
Right.
like back in the days, but most of those guys were older guys, and they would still meet.
No
And
way.
They would meet at the. There was a restaurant on Winter Gardens and Winter Gardens and Woodside. They call it W&W. There was an old school restaurant, and they would hang out there. They would hang out on Saturdays. When I went to Lakeside, I remember hearing that, hey, that's where they all hang out. You don't want to go there. It's my beats, So,
Right.
so I remember walking in there. They're all staring at me, and I got my coffee, and I left the first time. They're all just checking me out. They're all talking. Came back again the second time, and this time I come back, and I just stood by them. I said, hey, so how's business with the Klan, man? And this is, oh, there ain't no Klan here. Hey, I heard you guys are good old boys.
Yeah.
And I broke the ice.
Uh-huh.
And I sat down with them. I wasn't invited. I just sat down with them and started shooting the shit. And next thing you know, they would wave at me. They had their farms and their homes, and they would always wave at me. I got along with them.
What type of crimes were you encountering in that area?
Robberies, a lot of dope, shootings, stabbings. It's a wild, dude. We had the Lakeside Hotel, which was a wild, wild west style hotel. At the bottom was a bar, upstairs was a hotel, and they had the stairs going up,
Oh man, like Planners Hotel
like
and
the
bro.
saloons.
Yeah, I like that kind of shit, man.
And it was wild in there. Only real men went in there. They said, Yeah.
And you were patrolling that beat at that time.
Yeah.
And that's what was it called? Lakeside Hotel?
It's called the Lakeside Hotel.
Lakeside Hotel.
Yeah. So we do bar checks. When we were always doing bar checks, that was part of our duties, to get out of the car and go do a bar check.
And how many patrons were sloshed and,
Oh, you see people passed out, just,
were there ladies of the night there?
oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah, hell yeah. Lakeside was right across Lindo Lake. There was apartments, and a lot of the women that were dancers, strippers in San Diego lived there, and a lot of them were property of the Hells Angels.
Holy shit, man.
So they had the tattoo that said "Property of the Hells Angels," either on their butt or their arms or their back.
It's crazy how times and generations change. However, it's still kind of the same organizations, human trafficking as they call it now, And talk to me about the Hells Angels. So in your opinion, Lakeside or Santee, which one was more wilder?
Oh, Lakeside.
Damn.
Santee had a lot of regular people living
Okay.
there. But you just kind of, you had the little bunch of white kids that the stigma of they wanted to be like Lakeside,
Wow.
So they call themselves, But Lakeside we had white power groups, we had Nazi lowriders, Supreme White Power, just the Hells Angels.
Now, were these people San Diego locals or did they migrate to?
No, they're all San Diego.
They're all San Diego locals. So they're just fucking born and bred.
The head of the Hells Angels back then, the president of the Hells Angels, had a ranch, a beautiful ranch, and they owned a lot of property towards Slaughterhouse Canyon, those areas up there.
Yeah.
They owned tow yards. They owned a lot of land. So And their clubhouse used to be, and I can't remember whether that area was unincorporated El Cajon or still part of Lakeside, but they had their clubhouse there before they moved back to El Cajon, to the city of El Cajon.
So I know you mentioned you would get off at the cafe, the diner, chop it up with the clan members. You'd go to the Lakeside Hotel, chop it up with the drunken patrons. Do you think clearly, there's been a change in policing as far as back then you guys were boots on the ground and walking the beat to now?
Yes, for some reason we got away from getting out of the car.
Okay.
Maybe it's just the volume of calls. But back then, I mean, we had briefing. We go to briefing for the PM shift, and we all sit there and we were already behind a shitload of calls. They would tell us, "Hey man, briefing's gonna be short. You guys are down 15 calls. You guys are down 20 calls, 6 calls, 7 calls." So we knew it was gonna be one of those nights like, "Ah, shit."
Yeah. Do you feel that it's better for the public, better for society, for the cops to be out there interacting with society?
Well, back then, even though we were busy, we were always told you got to do your bar checks.
Okay.
You got to get out of your car, and we got out of our car a lot. I mean, and for some reason it just kind of stopped. It kind of went away, and now they're trying to bring it back by doing something community-oriented policing, which to me, all it is it's a fancy word to get money from the government to go do this special things,
Right.
to shake hands with the community and all. No, to just get out of your car and go fucking walk the beat. Throw your stick in the ring. I used to throw a stick in my ring, go for a walk. Take my flashlight and go for a walk.
Yeah.
Go talk to people and meet the old ladies. They tell you. I mean, you'd be surprised what they tell you. I mean,
Right. So during that time, did you have love for the job? Were you enjoying it?
yeah, dude, I still do, man. That was me, man. I did it for 42 years.
42 freaking years,
I
man.
was addicted to the job, man.
So you were in your element,
Yeah.
and you were good at what you did.
Growing up, I always wanted to be a cop.
Yeah.
And there was a guy in Calexico. His name was Hector Fonseca. He was a Calexico PD guy, and I always looked, to me he was the icon of a cop. He was a big dude. I've known him from high school. I had a lot of respect for him, and we got along. We were good friends. So I always wanted to be like him. And then when I went to the Valley, I ended up with some really good training officers, really good guys.
So over your career, you dealt with different calibers of criminals, from the street gang members, broleños in the Imperial Valley, to Hell's Angels in Lakeside. At what point would you come across Hell's Angels? Traffic stops,
All the time.
fights, calls?
We see them flying colors. We pull them over.
Now, was that a policy or a directive or just common sense?
No, we just did it. It was our beat. We wanted to know who was on our beat. Especially we saw somebody that was a prospect.
Right.
Not full patch. We want to know who that guy is, and that's where we ended up with trouble most of the time, because those guys are your aggressive guys because they're trying to earn their bones.
That was going to be my next question. What was their demeanor towards you guys and law enforcement in general?
Assholes to the max.
Wow.
But I was always told by Castiglione and the upper guys from the HAs, if you guys ever get shit from one of those guys, come let me know who it is.
Wow.
Because I've already been told to be polite with you guys.
Wow.
So if I had problems with somebody, I would stop at Castiglione's house and say, dude, I just stopped this guy. You call him this, blah, blah, blah. I would show him a photo, because I always got a photo. I always got a Polaroid photo for my FI. And he says, I'll take care of it. And I know they did, because next time I saw them, they were polite and they were good.
So during a search of one of these individuals, and let's say you find throwing stars, a dagger, a sword, brass knuckles, what would be the next steps that you would take?
Well, they get arrested. Those are felonies.
Okay.
But, the Hells Angels have what they call church, which means they have their meetings, their monthly meetings. And when that happens, all kinds of shit's going on in Lakeside. A lot of activity. And you get your vans, your cars that stand out. And I remember one time we were working it, and I stopped the van and said, I got to stop this van. And right away, a bike stopped right behind me. A prospect pulled over, but he didn't make contact. He just sat on the bike. And I looked at him and I said, keep going. He just shook his head. I said, fuck him. He's just following rules,
Right.
And next thing you know, boom, another one pulls out. Now they got 2 of them. I said, okay, so this is going to be one of their vans. Pull out the chicks, start talking to them, get them out, run them up. They got a 4th waiver. Get in the car, Tech 9s.
Tech 9s.
There's a magazine from our department that we printed out back in the day, and there's 2 Tech 9s on the hood of the police car.
Damn.
fully loaded Tech 9s, ammo.
Now, with as much policing as you guys were doing, do you guys think you guys were putting a dent into the criminal organizations?
No,
Nothing?
no,
Not even a scratch on the surface?
no.
Why is that, do you think? What was, I mean, you looking back in hindsight, what could you guys have done better, more, or different, or if anything?
You need manpower to squash it, and manpower is money. They
Okay.
just don't have it. Yeah. I mean, look at Lakeside was popping with meth labs.
Mm-hmm.
They were blowing up on their own,
Mm-hmm.
and we were handling that stuff. Now, the only one that was a big dent done, and only because it slowed them down. There used to be a place in Lakeside, and I can't remember the name of it. It was a warehouse where they sold the chemicals, and they sold all the hardware for the labs. And DEA hit them. They worked them, and they finally hit them. Seized everything, slowed down the whole thing. You couldn't buy red pea. You
Wow.
couldn't get any of that shit. So they had to start going in Mexico or other areas to get the red pea and all that kind of stuff to make the meth.
You mentioned DEA. As your career progressed, would you do a multi-task force with other agencies?
Oh yeah.
Did you enjoy doing that, and was it neat? And did you get to learn other tactics and vice versa?
You get to learn how the people, how they work, how they operate, resources,
Ooh, yeah.
money.
Right? You're like, hey, look at that cool little toy over there. How come we don't have those?
Yeah. So, but anyway, I mean, back then it was different, dude. I mean, we went to a house that just blew up, and we didn't call hazmat. We didn't wear those fancy shoes, right? We just walked in with our boots. We got red shit all over the red phosphorus all over our shoes, and
Really?
we go out there handling shit and call NTF because NTF, the Narcotics Task Force, which is an element from DEA, would handle all the labs. So they would come over and take over the lab.
But that's like breathing hazards, right?
Yeah.
Fucking A, man.
I remember passing out one time. I was transported. I went into a motorhome. It was a mobile lab. And I went in there, and my partner goes in with me, and he leans against the counter, and he drops a vest. And fumes came out, and we both passed out. Next thing you know, we were at the hospital.
Wow.
I was in the El Cajon area.
Wow. Now that we're going on to this, we're talking about this. Any police officers that were corrupt or dirty as far as working with the Hells Angels or doing some real far out shit that got caught and fired or anything?
Maybe. I was not at that pay level yet.
Okay. You were just doing your thing.
Yeah, I was just a patrol dog,
Keeping your nose to the streets, man.
putting people in jail
Yeah.
and doing my shit.
Okay. Makes sense.
I mean, you heard a few times where deputies were caught that were dealing dope out of their cars.
Uh-huh.
And you heard deputies that were ripping off the illegals. You got the deputies that were ripping off dope,
What do you mean ripping off the illegals?
taking their money away.
Illegal aliens?
Yeah.
From Mexico?
Yeah.
They would come with money and the cops would just take it?
Oh yeah, they work here.
Okay,
take their
makes
money,
sense.
that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
stuff,
Right.
But that was like old school. I mean, you hear that, and internal affairs will handle that.
Okay, yeah. Makes sense why, it'd be above your pay grade.
Yeah.
You showed me a riot helmet. How many times, or can you recall a large protest or big ass, riot type scenario?
Well, it's evolved. The helmet has evolved.
Yeah.
Mean, the first ones from the Valley, they didn't stop anything. I remember the lettuce festival got hit by a brick and almost broke the helmet in half.
Damn.
Took a big chunk out of it. When I came to San Diego, the helmets were the same style, but a little bit newer and a little bit harder. But it's just a helmet. And then as we evolved, we ended up with the Kevlar helmets.
Oh, yeah.
Which is what everybody wears now, the Kevlar helmet.
Right.
And, use it for riots. They're in the patrol cars. They're part of your war bag. That's what you carry in the trunk. It's part of your war bag. I used to carry mine in the front seat.
Now, that war bag that you speak of, was that policy or was that just you guys put those together?
No policy. This is your equipment bag.
Okay.
Or your toys.
Okay.
So you have a big war bag in the car, and you have extra ammo, an extra handgun, your trunk gun. You had your camera, water, snacks, just a number of things that you threw in there. It was a war bag.
Los Angeles had those riots. Anything significant in San Diego or the Imperial Valley?
I was talking to a friend of mine who worked the Valley. He said Nothing really happened in the valley. It was just a little noise here and there, but quiet. And most likely El Centro, because El Centro has, yeah, that that element.
Right.
You know, they have a black community. So if you got to hear noise, it's gonna come out of El Centro most likely, not Brawley and not Calexico. And I heard it was very small. San Diego started popping, but they quelled it down really quick.
Okay.
There was a lot of response, and then a lot of us ended up going to L.A.
For those riots?
Yeah.
Like strike teams?
Mutual aid.
Okay, mutual aid.
We went out there.
Did you happen to go over there?
Yeah.
How was that experience?
Never seen empty freeways, especially in L.A. I mean, it was the only thing you saw was the military and
Right.
cop cars.
Damn.
Cop cars everywhere. It's like San Diego when we had the fires and we shut down the 15.
Yeah.
We sat down and had lunch on the freeway on the 15. Because there's no cars coming. So, but going back then, I mean, you could see the fire and you were pumped. You were hearing all these stories and things were going around. You were a little bit tense. And I remember we drove to the Coliseum. That was the staging area, the Coliseum.
Yeah.
And as soon as we got there, we got duties right away. Escorting fire trucks for security.
Man.
Then we ended up in Compton. We ended up in Watts, Normandy.
And this was the 90s?
Rodney King.
Yeah. Man. By that time, you said you joined in 77, right?
Yes.
Did you notice a change in society from 77 to 92 and 93?
I did, but a lot of old timers say it's just a repeat of the 60s.
Okay.
In the 60s, things were violent.
Okay.
They were bombing police cars. They were bombing police stations.
Okay.
Killing cops. It was pretty much like history repeats itself.
Right.
Except that people are more out of control now. I think a lot of it's got to do with cell phones. They think that they can talk all the shit they want.
Right.
And you're not going to hit them or you're not going to talk back to them. Because if you do, I got you on tape.
Well, they're going to get hit,
Yeah.
but then the cop's going to get fired afterwards.
Yeah. They're little bitches. They come with their little phones, like in the riots used to be where if you got within a reach, because you get the line formation. If you were within reach of the stick, you got hit. Now they get right on your face.
Oh, they'll
Like I
spit
said-
on you. They'll throw fucking...
Yeah, I said to myself, since when is that fucking happening?
They'll put hands on cops. You know how many videos I've seen where they're putting hands, slapping cops around, and they're just taking it?
Now, our department was more aggressive because we had the grenadiers. I was a grenadier.
What is that?
It's the guy with the less lethal in the background.
Okay.
I'll shoot the bean bags. I'll shoot the pepper balls. They got the 40 millimeters. And if we saw people approaching, we would break between the line and just open fire. Pa, 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 with pepper balls.
Was the use of force policy loose back then? Or not as stringent or strict?
Back then it was loose. Now it's strict. I mean,
Correct.
if you pull your gun out of your holster, it's a use of force. You have to put it on a report.
What about report writing from back then as it progressed through your career?
Same old shit. Horrible report writers. Cops are poor report writers, man. And that's why when we go to court, we lose so many cases sometimes.
Yeah.
And they put pressure on you, saying, well, on your report, you didn't put this. So how important was it since you didn't put it on the report? It's just, you write a quick report.
Right.
And you're done. Unless it goes, now if your case goes to a detective, it's more detailed.
Man. Dude, it sounds like you were extremely busy in your career. And I totally forgot about the court aspect of the job.
Hector, we had to handwrite our reports.
Holy shit,
print
yeah.
Our reports when I first started in the Valley, everything was print. When I went to San Diego, we were still printing, but then they came up with this typewriter. It was a word processor. And I was like, oh my God, we're high tech. And then we end up with the computers, the big, bulky.
Right. So how many times did you have to go to court as a result of arresting bad guys?
Quite a bit.
A lot?
Yeah, cops go to court quite a bit.
Do you ever get grilled on the stand?
Oh, yeah.
How did that make you feel? You probably knew you did nothing wrong, so you're just answering squared
Just
away.
answer the questions, And a lot of times the defense attorneys, like later on through my career as a detective, when I was handling bigger cases, they always ask you, the DA would always ask you, well, how long you been a law enforcement officer? So 37 years. The defense attorney was, shit. So they wouldn't drill you because you know the game.
Correct.
And not only at that point, we even know the defense attorneys.
I bet, man. Hey, what's up, Bill? Hey, what's
Yeah,
up,
we
John?
talk to them.
Yeah,
We'll sit down during lunch and we won't talk about the case, but
correct.
we talk about families or something else going on. So they
Wow.
already know who you are.
Okay.
Yeah,
Damn, that's interesting,
yeah.
man. Any high notoriety cases that you were involved in or you remember, maybe like a serial killer, like a serial rapist, like something
Well, when I was working
on the
Lakeside
news?
Patrol, the Green River Killer was active.
What was that about?
It was a guy that was killing prostitutes.
Holy shit, man.
So it was dubbed the Green River Killings. They
Was,
were all over California.
was he a regular at the Lakeside Hotel?
No,
Okay.
no. As a matter of fact, I don't even know how he tied him to some other murders and that happened in Lakeside. So I was working patrol, and when that thing was going on, I found two other girls, two other bodies.
You found him?
Yeah, just by driving patrol. You
Mm-hmm.
drive in a patrol, spotlighting areas, you go into the canyons, because we know he was active.
Yeah.
So we would just drive around, hit the spotlight here, hit the spotlight there. I guess I got lucky twice.
Oof.
So we had a task force in San Diego called the Grand River Task Force. So they would come out and handle the investigation, photograph your shoes, photograph you. You know, they wanted to see your shoes right away, photograph your shoes, make sure that,
Right.
because they would ask you, how far did you go? Say, hey, I didn't go anywhere. She's down in the ravine. You didn't go down at all.
Wow.
I thought, no, I didn't go down at all. So
But you could
now,
see, you could visually see the body.
oh yeah,
My goodness, man.
yeah. So you hit them with the spotlight, and they would come out with all their equipment and stuff, and they ask you, "See, are you sure you didn't go anywhere down there?"
Wow.
I just came right here, hit it with the light. Okay, so they took a picture of your shoes, so you know it's shoe patterns.
Right.
See if you're down there.
Did they eventually end up catching that individual?
Yeah, yeah, and I think he was out of Central California. I can't remember. I think he was out of Northern California. They
Did-
always thought it was a military guy because he was hitting a lot of areas that had water
Okay.
and military installations.
Did he get the death penalty?
Yeah.
So he's probably paroled by now, huh? In the streets.
Or in San Quentin somewhere, old man, like Randy Kraft.
Yeah, he'll be getting out shortly. Man, they're just open the
It's
floodgates.
probably like Randy Kraft. Or if you see him, you say, "Poor old man. Why is that poor old man in prison? He's a serial killer."
Yeah. Man, you mentioned going to the crime scenes of exploded meth labs. You mentioned seeing the deceased bodies of prostitutes. How much carnage did you observe, man, in your time?
I don't know, dude. You know, it's funny you asked that because we just wrote a book on suicide. Myself and two other policemen.
Go ahead and plug that book right now if you want,
It's
man.
called "When the Music Stops, the Pain Begins."
Okay.
It was written by David Contreras, myself, and Pete Bollinger, who's a Santa Ana retired police sergeant.
Where will people be able to find that book?
It's on Amazon, but you know what? Don't go to Amazon because it's really expensive.
Okay.
Amazon charges a lot of money for their books. So you go to Police and Fire Publishing.
Okay.
And you'll find that, I think, at $29.
Cool.
It's really a good book. So when I was writing the stories, because a lot of it was our personal experience and our experience at work. So I remember one night I'm sitting down and just close my eyes in my office, and I'm just trying to think about dead bodies. I said, let me see how many I can remember. Dude, I was quickly into the 40s and the 50s. Like, holy shit. And I could remember them like it just happened. Your mind's so weird. I mean, your mind works in weird ways, man. Because you can close your eyes and you can concentrate. You can think. It flashes back, dude. Like
Yeah.
you with the war, bro.
I don't even have to close my eyes and I could see it. You mentioned 40 and I just instantly thought about the 21 that I saw in one bang, man, car bomb,
Yeah.
charred pieces.
It's just like it happened yesterday, yeah.
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 How would you deal with that at the time, man?
Back then, it was a macho thing. Cops just didn't talk about it. We just went on. I remember handling a dead baby, dude, and giving it to the FD, and the baby's already. I mean, he's been dead for a while. So, and I talked to my partner. My partner rolls up and he says, "Hey, Ben, you ready to eat? Yeah, let's go eat."
Oh yeah, man.
So, I mean, you just forget about it. Because it's rock and roll. There's one call after another.
Right.
Now, if you're in a smaller city and you see something like that, and that's the only call you got for the whole week,
Yeah.
yeah, it's got to register with you.
Correct.
But when you're so busy, you just don't have time. It's ups and downs the whole night. You're pumping 100 miles an hour. You're relaxing. You go back to it. I mean, just like that, a flick of a second, you're 100 miles an hour again at it. It's just an up and down, up and down, up and down.
It's like an engine revving
Yeah.
with your heart, man.
And that's why when you retire, a lot of cops die.
3 years.
They said 5.
Five
I
to
already beat
3. CO's a 3-year lifespan after you retire.
Well, I already beat it.
You beat it?
I beat it. I mean, but you know what? Working in the prison, dude, that is the most dangerous and violent beat in the country, dude. I always have a lot of mad respect for guards. And people say, oh, cops don't like guards. Oh, dude, we have mad respect for those guys.
It's mutual, yeah.
I mean, you work with nothing but shit. I mean, we work them on the street and we put them away. We don't see them anymore. And guess who sees them every day? Guess who has to live with them?
There's two sides to that coin, because at the same time we'd be like, hey, the police officers have it harder because you're dealing with civilians, good people, criminals, bad people, and you got to flip that switch. You got to try to figure it out. With us, hey, everybody's a convicted felon. Yeah. So it's kind of like puts that
I did a tour in San Quentin with a friend of mine, a lieutenant over there, and the warden, and they gave me access to a lot of stuff. And dude, everybody around me was a fucking killer.
Well, I reflect back, man. Since I was 17, I've been around killers all my life. In the military with me and my friends, and then joining the California Department of Corrections with the killers.
Yeah. You see these guys, and like I said, it's funny because we're at the administrative yard, where all the yards are separated by gang.
Right.
And there's 2 ABers there, and they're hanging around a couple of Mongols. They got the big Mongol tattoos on them.
Yeah.
There's only like 5 or 6 guys in that yard, and the other guys were ABs. You could tell they were because they had the clover and they had the word Aryan on the stomach, And then here comes Randy Kraft, little mousy guy, And I didn't know who he was. I see this old man walks out, and he's all sweaty, and he's little wiry, And he's like, "Good evening, sir. How you doing?" And he's talking to me like all these little, like trying to be super friendly. And the lieutenant says, "Come on, Randy, move it on." And I look up, and they got a guard with the rifle just watching him, Says, "Come on, Randy." So, well, you have a beautiful day at the queue.
Man.
And he goes on. Who's that? He says, "You don't know who that is, though? That's Randy Kraft." Who the fuck's Randy Kraft? He says he's got the most kills in California. Serial killer, over 50. So he liked gay Marines. He killed Marines. I thought, so he's gay. What is he doing in that yard with those guys? He says they respect his level of violence. And he's got the highest IQ in San Quentin right now. So he does a lot of their paperwork. He does a lot of stuff for them.
Well, like a legal beagle.
Yeah. So that's why they like him. But he's at that level with them. I was kind of surprised to see a gay guy, come out of a...
Now, was he just killing them, or was he doing more than just killing them?
Oh, he was doing all kinds of shit with the bodies.
Oh, man.
He operated in San Diego. He operated all over California, out of state. But they got a body count of 50. Or is it 60? I think it's 60. More than Bundy and more than all those other guys, dude. But anyway, recently there were some bodies that were starting to surface in other areas that had the same MO that was his MO. So they're thinking it's Randy's murders,
Now let's take the guy Randy from the Booty Bandit story. You think if you would have held him with the Booty Bandit, the karma would have came full circle for that guy?
I don't know. Randy's badass. He killed a lot of people.
Oh, really? So he would have gave the dude a run for his money.
That black guy like nothing.
Wow. Shit, I got to do my research on this guy.
Yeah, Randy Kraft. Look him up.
Fuck.
When he was young. Oh, my God. And even now.
Wow.
I mean, you could tell that guy can snap out of it real
Damn.
quick.
So during all this time, did you join any specialized tactical units or anything like this? Detective, anything lateral or?
No, I can only go that far. I was a detective.
Right there?
Yeah.
Cool. And so you went from there to that, and then that's what we can't elaborate on that.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Different change of pace?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Higher tempo?
Yes and no. A lot of investigations, a lot of downtime, a lot of surveillance, a lot of reports.
What was more your cup of tea? That or the regular beats?
I like doing that.
Yeah.
I was a detective for 28 years.
Holy shit, man.
So that was my thing, investigations, and I was real good at it. I did a lot of research. I kind of built my own Bible that I like to call the Detective Bible. They had all the answers to everything. You know, it's just
That is probably worth more than gold right now, man.
well,
Especially with these young cops that don't have the
yeah.
guidance or
I mean, you know,
mentorship.
like I describe it like probation searches. You know, there's 4 levels of a probation search. You know, 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's parole searches,
Right.
and then you have your federal parole and your federal probation, which are completely different.
Wow.
Then you got SSU doing a parole search versus a regular parole agent doing a parole search.
Correct.
There's more. They do more, and it's all within their policy. They have policies. You know,
Right.
with us, if I did a parole search at a house, I didn't want parole to come with me. Okay, okay, because I can do a parole search without a parole officer there. Because if a parole officer's there, then he has to follow his rules, and he can only go so far.
There you go.
Now, SSU came with me. It was hands on. We did what we had to do.
Right.
You know, but you know, there's a lot of different rules. You know, for parole officers, probation. You know, probation actually is more loose than parole. But you go to federal probation, federal parole. Oh my God, they notify the crook you're coming. It's like I made a big mistake one time by going to the federal probation, and then they said, "Well, we notified him," and then,
Wow.
so I ain't going then.
Right.
Yeah. He's got rid of everything I want to look for.
Facts.
It's just you know, it's just they do things different.
Man. No, that makes sense. Different agencies, different classifications, different policies.
Yeah, but SSU was good to work with. Those guys were good. They came back with a lot of information. See, a lot of cops don't know that you can actually go to a parole officer and you'll see the guy's files. Like everybody's files are there. Everybody that's on parole, it's the same file you see in prison.
Right.
His file is there. It tells me who he was hanging out with, what he was doing, his crime for the commitment crime,
Yeah.
his rap sheet. Everything's in that file. Photos. It's a gold mine.
Gang affiliations, confidential information.
And most street cops don't know they can go there and find that out about their crook.
Wow. You know, what advice would you give to current times law enforcement officers, a young 21, 22, 23-year-old individual wanting to put on the badge and face the music, man? Something that maybe even help them survive.
Learn how to talk to people, man.
Wow.
What comes out of your mouth can mean your death. You could die if it could come out of your mouth. Say the wrong thing. Gotta learn how to talk to people. Listen to them. You know, play dumb. I mean, you know, I remember when I was working the jail, that's how I got Richie Pinuelos to talk to me. And Rhino from Otay, who was also an Emma guy. You know, hey, what does that mean? Or what does that mean? Or what is this? And I would sit there and listen to them. Yeah, they whine a lot sometimes, but you know what? What's 10 minutes of your time, dude?
That's facts.
Yeah. You talk to the guy, listen to the guy, ask him questions, act dumb. I remember when we had the Escondido bomber. You know, that was a big thing in San Diego County. I did the debrief with him, with everybody in the alphabet was there, you know, and everybody was acting dumb, and he would blow up and get all angry and get on the board and draw formulas, and everything's being videotaped.
Wow.
Oh no, that's not the way you do it. He starts doing this. What do you work for? No, this is the formula. So he was writing formulas and this and that, and everybody's eating it up. You know, they're just acting dumb.
Yeah, just eating all that fucking.
I mean, I don't want to give away game, you know.
No. I hear you.
But just, I shouldn't have said that about acting dumb, you know. But
no, I get it. I acted dumb.
I know that ex-convicts and bad guys watch our episodes. They watch our show, just like our show. I mean, we can see that the person on the other side is watching our show because they're asking questions.
Right.
And you say, wait a minute, that question's kind of a weird question. Only a convict would ask that kind of question, you know?
Right. But, you know, I seen the change in the game, man, the changes in the levels. I mean, on the peace officer side and on the criminality side, man, it's like, it's almost like the Wild Wild West, man. It's like a fucking free-for-all.
We always say these young baristas are coming in and all this, these young punks. Dude, we were all there. I remember when I got hired. I was 20 years old. No clue. Clueless.
Clueless, man. But I would not let an inmate adjust my neck.
No.
You know, chiropract me.
Yeah. That's a different level right there.
Yeah.
That's the different level of stupidity. That's not knowing your job.
Or your environment.
Yeah, you don't know your job.
Right.
You got to know your job, dude. Look who you're around. Look what you're working around. You ain't fucking walking down the street in the barrio
Right.
talking to the nanita who's gonna help you because you got a pinched nerve.
Right.
You know, dude,
They give you a solar and,
una
pop your
limpia.
shoulder. Yeah. So where can people find you, see more of you? I know you got the Gray Line podcast, and you feel free to let the viewers
we
know.
have the podcast. David Contreras had a different show, and then I met him through a friend, and he asked me, "Say, Benny, you want to do a podcast?" I said, "Well, what do we got to talk about?"
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Well, we can talk about our experience, this and that, blah blah blah." I thought, "Just you and me." So, well, we can bring a third wheel.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought, well, third wheel would be good. Yeah, and we had a really good guy for the third wheel, but his family didn't want him to be on it because he had, according to the family, too much baggage, and they didn't want any of that stuff to come back. So we ended up with Sean Murphy, who's a San Diego PD SWAT lieutenant.
Nice.
He's got a world of experience as far as SWAT operations,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Got spanked a little bit because he spoke his mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the other wheel that we brought in was Chalo,
Yeah.
the chief of police from Calexico. It's a world of experience. He knows how to deal with political stuff
Right.
because he's in that spot.
And administration type,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all that good stuff. Police
And
work.
David was into Mexico,
Right.
doing stuff in Mexico.
And former CDCR or
Yes.
CDC, California Department
Yeah.
of Corrections.
Yeah. And then you have B that has a lot of experience in investigations,
Yeah.
patrol experience, And so we were trying to figure out what we were going to call it. So we said, hey, let's call it the Gray Line. And David says, why the Gray Line? I said, David, did you ever operate just on the blue line? Were you always on the straight and narrow? He
Yeah.
said, oh, hell no. I thought we always walk that gray line.
The gray area.
Yeah. Where, you just, balance back and forth.
Correct.
That's how you do police work. That's how police work gets done. I know there'll be a lot of chiefs of police and sheriffs that will say, Benny's out of control. He's a rogue cop. No, you don't do that.
What year did you leave the department? Retire?
2018.
2018. All right. Because officers used to tell me, I was a sergeant lieutenant, hey, show us how to operate in the gray area. I said, no, I'm not going to show you how to operate in the gray area. You either know how to do it or you don't. And if you don't know how to do it, don't do it.
Yeah. You have to know how to do it the right way.
Correct. I'm not going to get you
Before
in
you
trouble.
start going to the gray side.
Yeah, I mean, there's some
Just like
motherfuckers.
patrol. You get in a patrol and say, well, show me the shortcut. No, you got to learn it the hard way.
Show me a shortcut.
Yeah. What's the shortcut to do this?
Hell no.
What's the easy way to write the report? No,
Fuck
you
no.
got to write the report the right way.
There you go, man.
You got to learn the job the right way. And then once you get on your own,
Correct.
you develop your own skills. You develop your own persona in patrol.
Yeah, you can get in some serious fucking trouble. You can get people hurt. You can get yourself hurt if you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, you got to know the job.
Right.
And then you start operating on that gray line depending on what you have. You're not gonna be on the gray line all the time.
Yeah.
But there's stuff out there sometimes that you just gotta
Maneuver.
Yeah.
Nah, I like it, man. I like it.
That's how the job gets done, bro.
Right. So, shout out to all those guys on the Gray Line podcast, man. Veterans, legends, probably over 100 years of experience right there, man, that you will not get anywhere else, period.
Yeah. And you know what? We bring a lot of good people.
Yeah.
I mean, we bring Mundo. Mundo's a good friend of ours.
Yeah.
Mundo's a good friend of law enforcement. He's just a good guy. I mean, he's one of those guys that, just... I don't know how Mundo became Mundo. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I do though because I know him well and I talk to him quite a bit. But he's genuine. I mean, he's for real. He's the real thing. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, he's bullshit," or he's still playing the game. No, Mundo's an older man. He's learned his lesson, and you know what? That's one guy that made it out.
Yeah, one of many now. There's a lot of people getting out, but yeah, he was one of the first ones to do it.
Yeah, and the other people that we bring in. I mean, we bring just a lot of experienced people. I mean, Brian Perry.
Oh yeah.
Legend SSU guy.
Right.
He was a assistant director.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's up there.
He ran the show during the LA riots for CDC, and you asked him the question I think one time. Well, how prepared were you guys? He said, we weren't prepared.
Yeah.
Was the CDC prepared? Oh hell no, we weren't prepared. They had no clue. They just told me to go do the job, and I went out there and did the job.
Wow.
Devin Hawks, one of the most respected debriefer for CDC. The guy debriefed hundreds of people, dude.
Yeah.
Experienced, well-liked Devin Hawks. Asked by many, many people. to be their debriefer. So that's two other people that we bring in, two really good SSU guys. Uh, just so many people. And then sometimes the people might not be that popular, but he did a lot of work. Like last week, we had a deputy, David Buchanan. He worked the jails in San Diego, so he told us about all the people he had while he was working the jails. For 33 years, he worked the jails, so he got to see all kinds of high-profile inmates from San Diego.
Wow.
You know,
Now, did you end up writing your own book as well?
yes.
You want to share that? Is that available for the public?
Yes, I wrote a book called Operation Blackball, Street Talk.
Okay.
Well, it is all my years of working wiretaps.
Oof.
A wiretap is, for those who don't know what a wiretap is, when you're listening to people talk on the phone, you're reading their text messages, you're doing a lot of different things. So through all the years, I just kept track of certain words, certain phrases that they were using. And this is all cartel, Mexican mafia, street gangs. Kept track of a lot of words, a lot of keywords, the way they speak, the way they talk. And a lot of it's from my personal, I use a lot of slang when I talk.
Yeah.
I'm old school, man,
Hell yeah.
And a lot of that stuff is in my book. It's a perfect book. Our department bought quite a few books for the jails. So when they read mail, there might be words there that they don't know what they mean. Some of the wire rooms have the book. So it's a perfect book for anybody that works gangs, cartels, human trafficking groups.
Yeah.
And you want to know what they're saying, the codes they're using.
Send this guy to Brazil. What the hell? Send this guy to Brazil.
Who's paying for it?
Yeah. You are.
And I think that word originated with Mundo.
Correct. Yeah, I stole it from him, and I use it on my show.
Mundo was the first one that started using that word.
Yeah, I use it all the fucking time, man. I got it from him. So yeah, shout out to Mundo, man. I used to watch Mundo when he was on one of the other YouTube channels.
Well, he's part of Pacific Police and Fire.
Yeah, then he fell off the map. I'm like, well, where's Mundo at, man? Because he had some good good
he's
stories.
Doing other stuff now. He'll be coming on pretty soon again.
Cool.
He's doing a lot of cool stuff.
Cool.
He really is a good guy, man. He really is a good guy.
I'm not doubting that, man.
Yeah.
I've yet to talk to him, right? But there it is, man. The invitation's there.
We have a warden coming over. He was a warden, I think, in 5 prisons. Ayers. That's the last name. I can't remember his first name. I apologize for that. But he was there in San Quentin when the Jackson thing went down.
Oh, shit.
I mean, he knows Mundo. He knows a lot of the heavy hitters. I mean, he was around in a lot of places. And you know what? He's one of those wardens that is highly respected by a lot of people. And Brian Perry respects the guy like, oh, my God, that guy. Devin Hawks says, oh, my God, that guy's good guy.
Yeah.
Good guy. It's hard to find good guys,
Fucking rare.
Yeah.
More so these days than none, man.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you're definitely a good guy, man. It was an honor and a privilege having you on here, dude. We just captured, history and nostalgia, a good time. So thank you for coming on, dude, and sharing your experiences.
For having me.
For sure, brother. We'll do it again, too. We'll wrap it up, the second part or something.
I got to meet these Greños guys, man.
Oh, yeah. We'll see if we can make that happen. Well, there you guys have it, folks. Another banger for you guys, man. Just another interview for another one of these 90s series that we're going to capture moments and times of when things used to be the way they used to be. With that, keep pushing forward.